I'm back.
And we're on live.
I can start letting people in now.
I've been letting them in.
And recording.
Good morning and welcome to Unity of the Hill Country in Kerrville, Texas. And we're really happy to be here online with you today. And those of you who are joining by Facebook Live and those of you who are joining us here on Zoom, and those of you who will be watching at a later time. Let's just take a moment and get centered in prayer. Let's close our eyes together and just take a deep breath in and slowly release. With that breath, we become present to this moment and this time. We join our hearts, we open them, gratitude and appreciation for this moment, for this day, and for all the fathers on this Father's Day, and all those father figures, and all the love that exists. We're just grateful. We live our lives gratefully. We're here in this moment today to celebrate and to know the truth of that divine nature in each and every one of us. And for this truth and so much more, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And that was a punctuation with a little mer. Our opening statement that we share each week is on the screen here, and you can say it with us at home. There's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe: God the good, the omnipotent. Announcements today. We're looking at having a membership class. I know that seems like a far out idea. I thought it was at first. Someone had asked me about membership before we went into this unusual time of going live online, but not being able to come together. A number of people had asked about joining, and we were planning to have a membership class in April or May. And of course, we weren't able to do that. So someone's asked me recently about membership. And what we do when people want to join is we offer a membership class where we come together and you learn about the New Thought movement overall. You learn about unity and its place in the New Thought movement. And then you learn about unity of the Hill Country and its origins. And at the end of that, you also learn concepts, metaphysical concepts, like the difference between Jesus and the Christ, and Christ Jesus and Jesus Christ. Also other ideas, metaphysical ideas that are unique to unity and to New Thought. So if you are interested in this class, it'll be July or August before we can pull it together. It'll be 3 sessions of a couple of hours each. You get to know the other people. We won't be recording, most likely. There may be parts of it that we record, but we won't be making it available online. You need to participate live in order to do the qualification to join. But if you decide to join, then we'll have an opportunity to join during one of our services. And then once we can come back together, we've got a long list of things we want to celebrate together when we actually can meet again face to face. And this will definitely be one of them. So just call the office and let Mandy know that you're interested, or send her an email at secretary@unityhillcountry.org, and we'll get that organized. Also on Tuesdays, Patsy Sherman is offering a class called Lost Christianities. It's part of one of the great courses. They get together online, watch a video from the great courses called Christian Scriptures and Battles Over Authentication. It's really interesting, a very well done, very scholarly program. And Patsy will be offering that through the summer and into the fall. And you can find the Zoom link on our calendar. And also Mandy sends it out every week, just as a reminder. You can find our recordings of the sessions, if you haven't joined live, on Facebook, YouTube, and unityhillcountry.org. And today our special music is Paul Hillard, and you all are pretty familiar with Paul. He's been with us since the first of the year. He was our first local singer-songwriter to join us back in January, and we're happy to have him with us today. Now let's take some time and focus on prayer requests. Typically, when we have the building open and people can come for meetings and programs, You can come and fill out a prayer request card. They look like this. And you can drop it in the box that you see the picture of here online. Right now, we're taking them online on our website at unityhillcountry.org. You can also call into the office and Mandy will jot down your prayer request. We pray of them here locally, or you can email Mandy at secretary@unityhillcountry.org. But then we send them on to Silent Unity, and you see the address here. If you want to go directly to Silent Unity, you can call, you can go online to their website, or you can put your prayer request in the mail to the address you see here. Then they pray over them for 30 days straight. And it goes into this room where they hold vigil 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the call centers had to reduce their hours because people are working remotely, but that prayer vigil is still going on. And it's an unbroken chain of prayer and focus on the good. And so in this moment, if you haven't had an opportunity to submit your prayer request, just take a moment now and just send that prayer request forward into the prayer box in consciousness, and we will add it to the prayers that we're praying over today. We know that there's no difference in the degree of prayer. There's none too simple or none too difficult for that power, that absolute good in the world that we know as God. And we know in this moment we claim absolute truth. We know that it's the consciousness from which we pray that determines the outcome. And in this moment we pray as our way shower, Jesus taught us, claiming it is done. Makes no difference if your prayer is for finances or health, relationship. There's no difference. All prayers receive the same resounding yes, yes, yes from that absolute good, an all-powerful presence we call God. For this truth and for the truth of the divinity that flows and exists and lives in each and every one of us, we simply say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. The mission and vision statement of Unity of the Hill Country is to live consciously, celebrating the divine potential in all. That's all people, all places, all circumstances, all moments in time. There's always that potential for the full expression of divine. So today, our daily word reader is going to be Mr. Jack Porter. Mandy, is Jack on with us? I see him there. Hey, Jack.
So, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to read the daily word today. The daily word is Father's blessing. I give thanks to all the expressions of fatherly love. Please repeat with me. I give thanks for all expressions of fatherly love. My relationship with my father may have been positive and nurturing or difficult and challenging. He may have been a strong presence during my childhood, or he may have been absent. We may be part of each other's lives today, may be estranged, or he may be passed from earthly life. Whatever our circumstances, I bless my Father and I see him enfold in divine love. I honor my Father. I also honor my Father's figures who have helped me, guide me through along my path. Family members, teachers, neighbors, clergy, employers, friends. I bless them. I recall all the ways each one in a unique way has modeled strength, guidance, wisdom, and patience. Their presence remains with me thanks to the gifts of fatherly love. From Proverbs 4:11, I have taught you the way of wisdom. I have led you into the paths of righteousness. Please repeat again with me. I give thanks for all the expressions of fatherly love. Happy Father Day to all the fathers out there. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Jack. That was great. I sure miss my dad on Father's Day. And now we'll have some special music as we prepare for meditation from Paul Hillard.
Hello, everybody. I did not write this song, but I think I can relate to it. This is a song that is a father's regret, I think. And it's a bittersweet song. It goes like this. Trying to ride just the other day, you came to the world in the usual way. There were planes to catch and bills to pay, and to walk while I was away. He was talking before I knew it, and as he grew, he said, I'm gonna be like you. You know, I'm gonna be like you. Well, the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. The little boy moves the man in the moon. Oh, when he coming home, I don't know when. We get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Sun turned tender the other day. Thanks for the ball, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw it that night and day? I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay. And as he walked away, he smiled at me. He said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah. You know I'm gonna be like him. And the kids in the cradle and the silver spoon. The man in the moon. Oh, when he come and home, that I don't know when. We get together then. We know we'll have a good time then. Came home from college the other day, so much like a man I just had to say. So I'm proud of you, can you sit for a while? He shook his head. With a smile. What I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have that, please? Long since the time my son moved away, I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I could just find the time. You see, the new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu. It's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's sure been nice talking to you. As I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, you've grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. Happy Father's Day, y'all.
Thank you, Paul. As you can tell, we're here actually in the building. I know that looks like the same as my virtual background, but we were actually hoping to possibly allow, we sent out the survey and we got some feedback. A few people, not a massive number of people, are really interested in coming back to the building just yet with the guidelines. And but since we had a surge this week, As of Monday this past week, we had 2 weeks without any new cases. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had another surge here in Kerrville. So we're still holding that possibility and that plan that we'll be able to come back together in limited ways with, of course, some social distancing and extra measures to maintain our disinfectant practices and things like that. But it's not going to happen just yet. So let's just keep that in mind, and hopefully we'll be able to come back together soon. But we appreciate the music from Paul and his being able to come in and share that with us today. So let's take a moment now. We have that sweet song. You know, I think that there may be some regret in that song, but there's also a lot of truth. So let's just take that truth into a time of meditation and just sit back and get comfortable and really allow the chair or the sofa or wherever it is that you're sitting in your own space today to fully support your body. Just sink into it. Give way. Just allow the connection of the weight of your body to feel supported and grounded. Together, let's take a deep breath in and slowly release. Another deep breath in. And with the release of this breath, allow all the busyness and distractions of the morning to just fall away. Drop into this moment, become fully present in this moment and this time. As we become still, mind, body, and spirit, we allow ourselves to become more and more aware of the divinity we are. Not some of us, not just a few of us, but every single one of us has that source of absolute good flowing through us at all times. Just take a moment in the stillness and allow yourself to become aware and fully present to this truth. You may feel the energy of this truth coming alive in your body. It may be even in your heart center. You are peace. You are love, and you are joy. You are the presence of the divine. Rest in this truth. Repose in yourself in a moment of silence. Silence is the gift we give ourselves. We let go of all that's going on within us and around us. In the stillness, we know. We know the very truth of our being. And we say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this truth. Together, let's take a deep breath in and fully release. Bringing our attention back to this moment and this time. Becoming present to this moment. To the joy and the privilege of being together on this Father's Day. So today we're adding on our talk from last week. Last week we were talking about cultivating compassion. I've been reading a book on this topic, but I've also, as I was doing some research, I came across a website. So I shared that a little bit with you last week. So we'll continue on with compassion this week and next week as we close out June. So happy Father's Day to everyone. I found this interesting little tidbit of information that on July 5th, 1908, there was a church in West Virginia that had an event celebrating and honoring fathers. And the sermon was really intended to be a one-time memoriam for 362 men who died in the previous year's explosion at the Fairmont Coal Company and the mines there in Monongah. So while it was a one-time event, from this, other events started springing up around the US in churches primarily, but also became some momentum for creating a holiday where we honor the fathers. And this is not just about fathers who've passed away, but it includes all fathers. We're honoring fathers who are present in our lives, and even those who have not been present. And sometimes the father figure in our life is a mother, because mothers have to step in sometimes and be both father and mother. And sometimes we're lucky enough to have that ideal dad who actually showed up and gave us guidance and taught us things that we needed in order to be successful and to thrive in the world. And we're just honoring all fathers in this moment on this day. I don't know if you're familiar, many of you are, with the work of Louise Hay, and she's written this book and many, many books. This book called You Can Heal Your Life was an international bestseller for decades. Also, she created Hay House Publishing. So there are a lot of different valuable material that has come through Hay House Publishing. But in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, she says this, she says, I see my parents as tiny children who need love. I have compassion for my parents' childhoods. I now know that I chose them because they were perfect for what I needed to learn. I forgive them and set them free. And I set myself free. That's the ultimate, right? To set your parents free from any expectations you have that they need to change and to be a different parent, any expectation that you, or disappointment that you have, that you didn't get your needs met, or maybe you did get your needs met and the appreciation there. But Louise Hay, actually from this book, there's a quote that changed my life in the foreword, I think it is. I read it years ago, decades ago, actually, when I was first at Unity of Dallas, where she says, your parents did the best they could. If they knew better, they would have done better. And that really gave me a lot of relief. I was like, yeah, if they had known better, because parents can only give you what they have to give. And they can't give you something that they haven't cultivated for themselves. And so as parents, it's our responsibility as human beings to cultivate the things that we need to be strong in the world, and then to share those things, such as compassion. So on this website at zenhabits.net, I shared this with you last week, 7 ways to cultivate compassion. Last week, we reviewed the morning ritual, the empathy practice, commonalities practice, and then the evening routine. So that gave you something to work with a morning ritual, a couple of practices during the day, and the evening routine. If you weren't with us last week, you might want to go back and listen to that recording. But this week, we'll talk about the other 3 practices shared in this article online. The relief of suffering practice, the acts of kindness practice, and those who mistreat us practice. These are a little bit more advanced. So the morning ritual that we discussed last week is reading and owning this on your own. It's a quote from the Dalai Lama, or you could actually write your own similar quote to start your day with. But reading this as part of your morning ritual. Today, I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. I am not going to waste it. I'm going to use all my energies to develop myself, to expand my heart out to others, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. I'm going to have kind thoughts towards others, and I'm not going to get angry or think badly about others. I'm going to benefit others as much as I can. If you start your day with that, you've claimed that day for yourself and for those around you. Now, this practice that we're going to talk about today, relief of suffering practice. And here's how it goes. Imagine the suffering of a human being you've met recently. Now imagine that you are the one going through that suffering. You can do this by closing your eyes and visualizing. It's connecting in with empathy, and it can help you to understand maybe not the choices that they're making, but the feelings that they're having in relationship with the suffering that's going on. Reflect on how much you would like that suffering to end. Once you're taking it on for yourself, think about how much you'd really like for it to be over with. Reflect on how happy you'd be if another human being desired that your suffering end and acted upon it. So you're putting yourself in the shoes of another person and their circumstances. We talked about that a lot last week, about empathy and compassion, and they go hand in hand. Open your heart to that human being, and if you feel even a little that you'd want their suffering to end, reflect on that feeling. That's the feeling that you want to develop. With constant practice, that feeling could be grown and nurtured. So when you develop these practices, when you can work on it on your own, when in your quiet time, that way, when you are with someone, your mind and your heart goes back to this experience of this relief of suffering practice. Your desire is it really takes you out of judgment. You know, sometimes when we see people who are suffering, we judge their circumstances. How could they have gotten themselves into that situation? And sometimes it's how could they have gotten themselves into that situation again? And we limit our compassion or our empathy because we're in judgment. This practice can prime our heart and our mind to be present. This is not giving sympathy. Sympathy is different from empathy. When you can feel, sympathy is kind of like, oh, poor you. But when you can feel the suffering of another and you can hold in your heart the desire for the end of their suffering, you actually have an effect on what's happening in that other person's world. Judgment just shuts down your ability to connect with them. Compassion makes that connection stronger and gives them the support from you that they don't have for themselves in the moment. I mentioned last week that children are born empathetic. They're born with empathic abilities. They can feel other children's emotions. They can feel their parents' emotions. There's research that even shows that this even happens while they're in the womb because of, they're in complete fluid and the vibration moves more easily through fluid. Children pick up, it's called epigenetics, and they can pick up. And if a mom has had a lot of trauma or whatever, sometimes the children come in with that experience of anxiety and fear that the mom has felt. So they're more attuned to those feelings. But as we get older, and especially if we've been in an environment where we didn't feel safe, sometimes we shut down those abilities to feel what other people are feeling. And we need to come back around and cultivate it again so that we can have that fuller human connection. Now, this is something I think most of us have had some experience with, the acts of kindness practice. And acts of kindness can be simple or they can be very complex. They can be something more detailed, a bigger commitment, but they can just be the tiniest of things, like a smile that changes someone's day. But the way they describe the practice is that you make this commitment. Imagine again that you are that person and you're going through that suffering. Imagine that another human being would like your suffering to end, perhaps your father or another loved one. What would you like that person to do to end your suffering? What act of kindness would you appreciate? And then reverse the roles. And you're the person who desires the other person's suffering to end. Imagine that you could do something to ease their suffering. What could you do to help them in any kind of small way to end the suffering? It doesn't even matter. Sometimes it's just a smile or a kind word. Sometimes it's nothing more than just touching someone on the back of their hand. Just a small, of course, right now, I'm not encouraging a lot of touching of hands right now. Let me be clear. But it's a small gesture. You could touch them on the back of their arm. It's just a way to let someone know that you see them, that you feel them, and that you care about them. And practice doing something kind to help ease the suffering of others. That's basically the act of kindness, acts of kindness practice. This one is a stretch for a lot of people. This one is called those who mistreat us practice. I have this belief that even though, because I know I've been guilty of it myself, that sometimes what people say and do is not even about us. They're not trying to mistreat us, but it's how we feel and how we take it. So try to imagine if someone has mistreated you, misspoken, acted in a certain way that you have your feelings hurt. Try to imagine the background of that person and what that person was taught as a child. Maybe controlling a situation or another person is the only way they learned as a child to get their needs met. And then now they're trying to control you. Don't take it so personally if you can possibly do that. Try to imagine the day or week that person was going through, something else that's happening outside of the moment that you're exchanging with them. Maybe they've had someone who's mistreated them and they're still reeling from that and they've stepped into your presence. Try to imagine the mood and state of mind of the person, the suffering that must be going on. And understand that their reaction was not about you. That's the biggest one, and the biggest, it's like the biggest bite to take is to actually look at someone's behavior that has caused us to feel unsettled and to actually say, you know what, I'm feeling this reaction to what they've done, but what they've done is really not about me. It helps us to separate ourselves from the feelings and from that action. But then if we can look at what they've done, not only as it's not about us, but it's also something they're going through that's being expressed in their behavior, we can come to compassion that way. In Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, he has one of the chapters that's like, take nothing personally, which is a stretch sometimes. And those who mistreat us practice continues by saying, now think some more about the suffering of that poor person, whoever it is, and see if you can imagine trying to stop the suffering of that person. Not that you're not going to intervene physically or say something, but just imagine if you could take that suffering away in some way, if you could stop the suffering that they're going through so that it's not being expressed in such a way that it's affecting you. It's not about making it not affect you. It's about compassion for that person. And then reflect that if have you ever mistreated someone else? I know when I do that reflection, things come up, and I think back to times when I've said something or misspoken. It was never my intention. If I've said something to hurt someone's feelings, it's often made me so sad if I've realized after the fact that something I said has hurt someone's feelings. I have to own it, that what I said did have that effect. I can't really take it back, but I can do my best to be aware and conscious and not continue to do it. And then the evening routine is like this. We talked about this last week. Think about the people that you met during your day and you've talked to and how you treated each other. Think about your goal that you stated in the morning with the Dalai Lama's quote, to act with compassion towards others. How well did you do? Now, this is not to criticize yourself. It's not to find fault with yourself. It's just to take an assessment. How well did you do? Were you able to express compassion? Did you catch yourself in moments of judgment or limited beliefs about someone else? And how could you do better? If you look at it and you say, there's, I could have done better. Well, how could you have done better? What would you do next time you're in that situation? Because I can guarantee you there will be a next time. We're human beings. We repeat our behaviors. And then what did you learn from your experiences in the day? Did you learn that when you're hungry or distracted or not setting good boundaries, that's when you become more impatient or critical of others? Do you learn that when you feel insecure, you become more controlling? There are little things like that that if we take the time to reflect, we can learn more about ourselves. And when we learn more about ourselves, we can expand and we can become more of who we are truly meant to be in this world. In the Bible, Luke 6:31, we all know the golden rule: do to others as you would have them do to you. If we always take the golden rule and apply it to our day, every day, how could I do unto others in a way that would have me receive what I need from them? Not necessarily in order to get it back, but I want to be an expression of that absolute good in the world in such a way that what comes back to me is what I love and appreciate. So you have to be it before you can see it. And this quote from the Buddha, I really love: no one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. It's a commitment that we first make to ourselves, and then we make it to those around us as we begin to grow and expand in the truth of who we are. But no one can do it for us. No one can help us to grow, and no one can become more aware for us. It's our path. We each have our own path, but all paths lead to the one absolute good that we know as God. So your weekly practice this week is to amplify your empathy. Take all of these 7 practices and commit to a different one every day. Begin with the morning routine and end with the evening routine, but adopt one of those practices each day of the week to help you to grow. First, we go into meditation, then we take that practice, we make a commitment to use that for the day. And then we just open ourselves to opportunities. We look for opportunities to be present, to show up as the compassion that we're claiming for ourselves. And if we're present, we can just be present. The opportunities are all around us. The opportunities are going to be right there, available to us any moment, anytime. We just have to open our eyes, open our ears, and sometimes open our mind. We are so much more than just this simple human experience. Thank you. So we'll have some more music by Hillard, who wasn't paying attention to know the cue to come up here. So he's working his way over here. You can learn about Paul and hear some of his music at texastallpaul.com.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Beverly. Yeah, the first song I did was a song that about a father's regret, and I think every father has some of that. But I'd like to now do a couple of songs that I wrote that are more about a father's devotion. And I have 3 daughters, and I have 3 granddaughters, and I adore them all very, very much. And a couple of songs now that I wrote for my daughters. This first one's called Crayons to Perfume, and it's father's devotion to his daughter's song, I guess you could say. It goes like this. Crayons to perfume, Barbie dolls to a college room. From your first date to your wedding day, I'll be there for you. From your first steps to your driver's test, from SpongeBob to your first job, from your first day to your wedding day, I'll be there for you. But I can be there to your last breath. I cannot tell a lie. No, I can't be there to your last breath, but I will be there till mine. From your best days to your worst, for all the joys and all the hurts, for the rest of this ride, I will be by your side. But I can't be there to your last breath. I cannot tell you a lie. No, I can't be there to your last breath, but I will be there until mine. No, I can't be there to your last breath. Lord, I cannot tell you a lie. No, I can't be there to your last breath, but I will be there crayons to perfume. So my youngest daughter just turned 17 recently, and a couple of years before that, I guess you all dads know you drive your daughters to various places for the early dates. And this was an unusual day for me because I'd always driven her and then picked her up afterwards, and her boyfriend or whoever it was, I would drive them somewhere, but I had control. So the first time she took off with a boy and in his car, I sat on the porch and I kind of watched them drive away. And it was a moment. It was, even though I'd already been through it a couple of times with other girls, it was kind of a moment. So I wrote this song, and it's actually out, a recent CD of mine, and this is something called Every Beat of My Heart. And it goes like this. I sit on the porch on that 4th of July heat, and that boy pulled up in the street. Looked him in the eye as he walked up the drive, reached out my hand, he shook it like a man. I said, boy, I know you like her. Lord, you might even love her. Sometimes I know you can. So much it hurts. Don't you get too reckless with my little girl tonight. Remember, I loved you first. From the moment she was born, she's been everything to me. That girl is the reason that I breathe. From the moment she was born, that girl has been my shining star. She owns every beat of my heart. As they drove away, I could see him looking back. He knew I would be waiting right here. Grown men are not supposed to cry, but you know, in that moment, I wiped away a tear. From the moment she was born, she's been everything to me. That girl, the reason that I breathe. From the moment she was born, that girl has been my shining star. She owns every beat of my heart. From the moment she was born, that girl has been my shining star. She owns every beat of my heart. She owns every beat of my heart. Happy Father's Day, y'all. Thank you, Beverly.
Thank you, Paul. That was awesome. You all can do your little applause this way, but he can't see you because he's not on the Zoom with us. But we appreciate Paul being here on Father's Day. I had asked him specifically to be here on Father's Day because I knew he had those special songs about being a father and the experience of fatherhood. So in this moment, I just want to continue to just express gratitude and appreciation. The Board of Trustees and I are just overwhelmed with gratitude and appreciation for the continued support that you all are offering by sending in checks, by dropping them off, by going online. There's so many different ways to continue to give, and we will come back together when all of this settles down And we just want you to know how much we appreciate you. And so together, let's just say our offertory prayer. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send it forth with my blessings and my love. We close, as we always do, with the poem of Prayer for Protection by James Dillett Freeman. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Tell your friends, share the links, and then we will offer our time right now. If Mandy, you will unmute everyone so we can have a little time to say hello. Namaste. I love you all. Thank you, Jack, for reading the daily word today. Hi, Hetty. Looks like, hey, BK, I see you're here. Mark and Gayleen. Here you are, BK. And Danny. Hi, Danny.
Hello.
And David, is that Dave Russell? Probably with Mandy. There you are. Hi, guys. Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody's kind of waving. Hi,
Thank you.
everybody's
Barbara.
greeting each other. Hi, Jack.
You can talk to each other.
Fathers and all the people who had fathers.
Yep.
I think that
Amen.
covers everybody.
That definitely covers. Okay.
All right, folks. Well, have a fantastic week.
You
And
too.
we'll say goodbye. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you too.